Invisible Man is a 2020 horror film written and directed by Leigh Whannell and starring Elisabeth Moss. And this is a film that I was really looking forward to because I really love the original Invisible Man from 1932, directed by James Whale. He's the one who made the first Frankenstein, not the first, but like the iconic one with Boris Karloff. He was one of the most important directors for Universal's back in the day. And there is just something about the story of the Invisible Man. It is clever, it is funny, but it is also one of the most thrilling films from the classic Universal monsters. And yeah, again, my favorite easily. And Universal has butchered the whole universe things. They tried with Van Helsing, they tried with the werewolf, they tried with Dracula Untold and the Mummy. And yeah, it's been a mess. It's been a complete total mess, and no one is scared about it because they're just old. They're old properties, and they're trying to go back to the well with those things, but trying to modernize them in a way that just doesn't work. Like making those films big blockbusters. That's the wrong way to go about it, because back in the day, Universal monster films were not big blockbusters. They were cheap as fuck. And this is when Blumhouse came in and decided to make the remake of The Invisible Man. And so here we are, talking about it. And I have to say, this is a great freaking film. It is flawed. Flawed in the sense that you have some logical gaps. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief with just a couple things in the narrative. But aside that, this is just masterfully made film. From the opening scene, you're just into the story. You don't need flashbacks, you don't need a backstory, you don't need like, oh, what happened here? This is a tale about domestic abuse and the consequences of such a thing. The constant fear of being followed, of being afraid that someone's watching over you. This is at the key of the film, and you get it instantly from the first masterful opening scene. The use of sound, the use of silence, the use of negative space in the picture. It is the kind of filmmaking, horror filmmaking, that shows that Leigh Whannell knows how to make an effective film. And, you know, Insidious Chapter 3, his first film, it has some good moments. It has some good moments, I'm not a big fan of it. Upgrade, really good, but there again, there's some parts where the story itself is a bit flawed here and there, some of the pacing as well. This one is where he's finally coming to his own. This film is tight, this film is tense, this is easily the most frightening, I'd even say, Universal film, even including like all the previous ones. There is just something so simple and effective about it, very low-key scares, very subdued, that just works in a more visceral way than any big special effects ever could. And in a way, my only other problem with the film are the actual visual effects, because they're fantastic up until the end, where you have kind of a CG object, I'm just gonna say, that looks a bit too fake, like it actually isn't there, which, I mean, that's the thing, but it doesn't look too convincing, unfortunately. But other than that, direction is top-notch. Elisabeth Moss delivers a terrific performance. She's easily one of my favorite actresses working today. Just like last year, in Her Smell and Us, she gave really solid performances. This one is one of her best ones yet. You feel for her, you're scared for her, you're sad to see her getting gaslit by the invisible ex-husband. It's a very depressing story, very sad, and her performance makes it what it is, because if everything else worked but her performance was shit, the film itself would just collapse under this weight. But it doesn't, as she elevates it to an even higher level than before. And the side cast as well, they all deliver solid performances all around. And the music, I love a film that knows when to just use sound effects, but also when to use music to heighten certain sequences. And this film does that in a very, very effective way. And again, just the way it tackles the story of abuse, it's believable, and it is especially relevant and grounded in reality. Even with the sci-fi elements and the horror elements, it still very much works. And that is what is key for the future Universal remakes that maybe Blumhouse will make, maybe someone else will make. We don't know, it's a mess, even according to Jason Blum. But this shows how to remake something. This shows how you can take something that's almost 100 years old, even more if you take the H.G. Wells original story, and it proves that there is always a way to improve and make something feel fresh again. Change the perspective, make it about a female character. Invisible, what is invisibility about? It's creepy, it's scary, it's disturbing, voyeuristic. What's voyeuristic? Fear of being watched by someone you're afraid of, being watched by someone you were supposed to trust, your husband, someone you love but doesn't love you back. This is a truly great film. I highly recommend you guys go check it out. So far the best film of the year, even though I've barely seen anything from 2020, but you know, people love those bold statements in February and March already. But still, Invisible Man, big surprise, terrifically made, really fun. Watch it on a big screen with loud ass speakers and the crowd, because the crowd, like, they were talking a lot in the first 2 minutes, but then they stayed quiet throughout the entire rest of the film. And that's a big statement to the quality of this. But still, guys, have you seen The Invisible Man? And what do you think of the original one? Tell me in the comments below. Thanks guys for watching, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.